As you know, we have a big fake news problem in this country, and so we're dismantling their billion-dollar propaganda empire piece by piece. So let's pound one more nail into their coffin with this report. The mainstream media has been lying to the American people on an unprecedented scale for decades. In fact, back in the 1970s, a congressional investigation revealed that the Central Intelligence Agency was paying cash under the table, off the record, to every major editor at every major newspaper, magazine, and broadcast news station in order to function as gatekeepers and propagandists for the government. That's called Operation Mockingbird. Check some of my previous videos on that subject. But for now, let's take a trip down mainstream media manipulating memory lane back to the 1990s when NBC was caught blowing up a truck for a news story, claiming it was due to a manufacturer's defect, something that got them sued for defamation by General Motors. In the early 1990s, there was a concern that there was a possible danger to certain models of GM trucks. The concern was that if they got hit by a side impact, that they may catch fire or explode. So NBC's Dateline decided to allegedly, supposedly, investigate this. They aired this story showing one of the trucks getting hit by a car and then exploding in a dramatic explosion. The only thing was that they not only put the wrong size gas cap on the truck's gas tank so that the gas would spill out, but they also put lit flares underneath the bottom of the car so that when the gas came out of the gas tank, because it had the wrong size gas cap on, it would explode because there were flares taped underneath the car. Thankfully, someone working at NBC had integrity and tipped off General Motors about the fraud. Oh, and they also lied about the speed. They claimed that the car was traveling at 30 miles an hour, but the car was actually traveling at 40 miles an hour. The fake news story claimed that the gas tank had ruptured, but because General Motors was actually able to track down the vehicle in a junkyard after an extensive search of 22 different junkyards, they finally found the wreckage of the GM truck that was in the fake news piece, and they discovered that there was no rupture of the gas tank. The only reason gas poured out is because, like I said, the producers put the wrong size gas cap purposely on the tank so that the gas would come pouring out once the vehicle was struck by its side. NBC later admitted that they did rig the car crash. Here's an old article from 1993 in the Los Angeles Times. NBC admits it rigged crash, settles the GM suit. So who knows how much money they had to pay up for the defamation. A lot of times these settlements are secret because they don't want the public to reveal how much money they actually had to pay. Here's another article from back in 1993 in Entertainment Weekly, usually which is talking about celebrity news, which is probably actually more accurate than most of the mainstream supposed news networks. Dateline's disaster. NBC and General Motors feud over a staged car accident. It was a story that literally blew up in NBC's face. On October 17th, Dateline NBC aired a report titled "Waiting to Explode," questioning the safety of some General Motor trucks. To try to ensure dramatic footage, the show's producers allowed incendiary devices to be strapped to trucks for a crash test demonstration. When GM discovered the setup, the car maker sued NBC for defamation and temporarily removed its ads from the network's news programs. Then came the ultimate embarrassment. Dateline anchors Jane Pauley and Stone Phillips were ordered to read a 3.5-minute on-air apology to viewers and GM. This is great. Let's watch that.
NBC's contractor did put incendiary devices under the trucks to ensure that there would be a fire if gasoline were released from the truck's gas tank.
We said the crash, quote, forced gasoline to spew from the fuel cap, end quote. GM says since the gas cap was the wrong cap for the GM filler tube, and because the gas tank was overfilled, the cap came off when the impact occurred.
We agree with GM that we should have told our viewers about these devices.
Actually, you probably shouldn't have even staged this fake news story to begin with, you idiots. Please continue, though.
The Dateline reporter, however, said, quote, at impact, a small hole was punctured in the tank, unquote. GM has now x-rayed that tank and found no hole.
We acknowledge the placing of the incendiary devices under the truck was a bad idea from start to finish.
Fraud is what it is. It's not a bad idea, it's fraud.
That's our new policy, and we'll be right back.
So NBC's new policy is to report the truth, which was just another lie. Mainstream media networks have been caught faking stories like this and similar to this countless times. And one can only imagine the other fake stories that they've produced that we haven't been able to fully catch. Because of the countless despicable fake news stories created and spread by the mainstream media over the course of the 2016 election, they are now scrambling to try to restore their absolutely devastated reputation by smearing people like me as fake news. Networks like CNN, MSNBC, and newspapers like the New York Slime are literally saying with a straight face that there's a problem of fake news out there that people are posting on their Facebook pages, and not to trust what you see on Facebook, only come to your trusted mainstream media news sources. I feel like I'm living in a Saturday Night Live skit where the mainstream media is warning people not to listen to any news outlet but them because everybody else is fake. I'm Mark Dice, thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel here if you're new and check back every day for new reports. I hope you'll check out some of my books. You can get them in paperback on Amazon.com or download them in ebook from the ebook stores. And stay tuned, new reports coming soon.